This is your weekend market recap for Friday, April 29th, 2022. Let's do this.
Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at EXPI Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your weekend market recap for Friday, April 29th, 2022. Let's get into it. As always, start out in the Discord room. If you are not a member, you are missing out on all of the amazing content that we're continuously dropping. If you are a follower, you know we've been absolutely killing it. If you would, drop a like or a comment below just to confirm with other people, because there's a lot of people in the Discord room, and I want other people to realize that this isn't just talk. We're actually living and breathing the action of the market. We called out the choppiness this week. We expected a bounce, and then we also expected a big short opportunity. Played out perfectly. This is not stuff that we're just flipping coins and trying to guess on. We're actually executing real life trades. If you want to learn, you need help, please stop by the Discord room. Again, as I put out here, don't walk in front of me nor behind me. Walk with me as we go through all the stuff in the journey. Trading isn't that hard. It's the brain that makes things very difficult. At this point in the market, as you guys know, we are in short positions. We are still anticipating the Feds will not be able to manage a soft landing. They meet next Wednesday for the FOMC meeting, and we'll get into that. But again, if you need help, you want to learn, you generally will take information. Stop by the Discord room. There's tons of information and reading in the side rooms meant to educate yourself, again, because you don't want to be dependent on me or anyone on the board. You want to learn this for yourself so that you know how to execute, because in the heat of the battle, the market moving fast, you got to know to hit enter and when not to, and you have to be very familiar about what to do in such. And so again, if you want to learn, there's tons and tons of information, back to basic videos and reading recommendations. And again, we're here to help, but we're here to help you help yourself. So on that note, let's jump into it. Bitcoin, living on a prayer. I said this in the most recent videos that I'm just not really that interested in it. And I'm not just in a point that's like, say, I'd like or dislike Bitcoin, but I feel like at this point, it's very retail driven in the sense that the only people that I know that are super excited about it constantly seem to be retail traders, and that's okay. But at this point, I'm trying to explain to people, nothing is safe in this market. Just be aware of that. There's nothing safe. And when I say nothing safe, liquidation breaks, margin calls, raises in margin requirements do what? They create selling, and as soon as the selling exacerbates, it gets worse because of these factors. Bitcoin feels like it's in a similar position. I will say it actually is holding up better than I thought. But again, know your levels. This trend line is all I'm really watching at this point to be bullish or bearish. And at this point, at the lows, it could break at any point. If it does, 35,000, 30,000 become your big round soft landing areas, or could get smashed. I don't know. I don't trade digital currencies. I watch them, but again, I don't need to know everything about everything. I tell people there's repeating patterns in trading. And what the biggest concern for me with Bitcoin is this the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder? Because if it is, it could be an issue. I mean, just, you got to call it like it is. And I'll just draw it real quick. I hate trading view. Again, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. And if this is, it could be heading lower. We'll see what happens. I hope it's not, because again, I have a lot of friends who've bought Bitcoin over time, and I just don't think they would want to. They don't want to see another 70% correction. I hope not. So anyway, let's get into it. TLT, as we always start. This thing has been pretty sloppy, choppy, and look what happened. Another doji at the lows. So one of the things we always talk about, and I repeat this stuff because, again, you have to hear it dozens of times or experience it. I would rather repeat myself than have to have the person listening on the other end repeat the mistakes that I've made a million times. That's where I think the value in this is, watching these videos fully, because you'll see that this repetition will become second nature to you once you learn that the market's really not that hard. The repeating patterns, it's just a matter of you being able to execute mentally and being stable mentally as you're going through these processes, so you don't blow up, make a mistake, do something you shouldn't. Because again, if you're watching price all day and your account balance all day, that is very emotional. It's like watching the roulette wheel as you put money out on the table and when wondering and guessing where it's going to land, and then throwing money on the table as it rolls, as if that action of where you're watching the table really matters. It doesn't. Market's going to do what it's going to do. You just need to be right. What do we say? Channels, and usually the break out of the channel is the exacerbation move. Said this in the Discord room. I don't know about this. I don't like this action. I mean, when the market's getting smoked, it should be popping. Talked about this maybe a year or two ago, and some of the older followers might remember this too, is that I said, when the market's really ready to die, like bull market's over, bonds and the stock market are going to go down, because usually you get what's, you should get a pop. Here you go in the TLT during the bear market. Is inflation too strong? I don't know. We'll see what happens. I mean, is the dollar going to lose reserve status? These are all things that always have to be in the back of your mind. Is it true or not? I don't know, but this market could get absolutely shitstorm kicked at some point, and who knows? The dollar. And actually, who knows? We know a liquidation break is coming. We just don't know when. Talked about this yesterday, the day before. I know some of the members, Hayoti was talking about shorting the dollar and said, just wait. Zoom out on the monthly. There was your short opportunity. This action isn't bullish. Look at the distribution potentially. Doesn't mean it has to break down fully without retesting, but broke out of the channel, exacerbated move up. Should the dollar pull back? I think so. But again, there's a lot of social unrest around the world, and when debt is destroyed, what do? They buy the dollars. They buy dollars. And again, at this point, the dollar strengthened against everything but the ruble. And let's just kind of keep an eye on this. The VIX had some conversations about this the last couple of days, and people are like, oh, we're getting into the 30s, we're done. And I just warned people. I said it over and over and over. And again, if you're listening, please pay attention. I said you have a higher low, higher low, a higher low, higher low. I don't know why we wouldn't get back into the high 30s. Worst case scenario, I think, is probably... Let me stretch this thing over, actually. Can I do it without pulling over? No. It's going to be that fib up there. You guys can see it. You know where I'm stretching the sucker, too. So that becomes, I think, the target in the high 40s. Now, do I know that with certainty? No. But I knew a liquidation break is coming. And how do I know that? Because everything is breaking. I mean, names like US Steel had great earnings, up then down. Names that are having bad earnings getting absolutely slaughtered. I mean, Qualcomm today, or the other day. Whatever. You're seeing it. The weak action permeates everything. As I tell people, there's nothing safe when the market pulls back. The only thing that actually held up today was AEM. They had amazing earnings. We can talk about that here shortly. SPY. Always, again, like to start on the monthly. What did we say? This action didn't look bullish. Chop, pop, we ended the month on the lows. Now, I'm not going to say 100% certainty that we are going to go lower, but typically when you close on the monthly low, it means you're going to go lower at some point. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, basically. Like, don't forget that. Like, at some point, since the month just ended, don't be surprised if next week, following weeks, we go lower. And could it be a trap? Yeah, ultimately, it could be. But look at this. This is what got me very nervous. Head, shoulder. Notice the 50-week and the 20-week are crossing here. Look at the daily. Said the same thing. We said, look, head and shoulders. And now you're back at the lows. This trend line is back testing. Let's do some drawing on the fly, because I don't use this computer to trade off of, but I think you can see what I'm looking for. Let's call this the channel of channels. I'm going to remove this because the back testing of it doesn't really bother me too much. We broke the downtrend, we broke the uptrend. We talked about that being bearish. I'm just going to remove it because it's kind of not a very important one in my opinion. So there's many ways to draw this, and you should be doing this too. Like, don't just rely on me. Put this out there. Now, okay, you see your trend lines. You see there's a gap. Remember, pink lines are gaps. I always tell people that if you're watching the video. There's a gap down here. Where should be the next downside target? I said this all week. It's somewhere in the 400s, right? Let's do this. That would be my guess. And if you hit 400, are we going to knock stops out? That would be my guess. And when I mean knock stops out, imagine the market has participants who all have stops at 400, right? Say they're just rolling their stops up and they're saying, if the market goes below here, we're gone. Market maker knows that. So if you know that, I know that, market maker knows that, and the orders are resting out there, think of the market maker with like a bazooka just ready to go, knowing that if they hit that level, it's going to knock people out. And so they're going to take the market lower than 400 if it gets down there. That's just my interpretation. Could be wrong, but that's what I've seen 99 out of 100 times. Same thing with the Qs, breaking the lows. Draw your trend lines here. I know that's really steep, but man, the Qs have been really stinky. So where's your first resistance? It's not surprising that it plays out somewhere probably here. Man, it could get back to this 280s. It looks like crap. And I've tried to warn people. Again, you start on the monthly. What did we say? You don't like this wick action and not making new highs. You know, once you couldn't get over 363 and this, you know, or not 360, but like 370. And this is where we're shorting actually, because we're in retest. Once you couldn't get over that, you got problems. You got absolute major problems. And so closing at the lows for the month, probably going to be a long wick. Let's go back to previous bear markets and remember and look at the action. Where is it? May? No, I guess it was the 2001. Here you go. I think this was, yeah. Here was April. May was down as well. Is this going to be a repeating pattern now? Again, just bear with me and to go, well, they don't look the same. Just notice the top. The top was in. The May action was not bullish. And then you had some float up later into the midterm elections. And then I think the bear market's starting now. People go, well, damn, the market only goes up. I'm like, no, it doesn't. I mean, I've been trading for 20 fucking years. And excuse my language, not being aggressive, but it does when it's up. And when it's not, things always come out of nowhere. Now, and again, the problem that I have with the market, and I've had this for the last 2 years, and trust me, I got 2021 was not one of my best years because I thought the market was going to wake up to this realization at some point too, is that the liquidity that goes into the market has to come out at some point. And what do we talk about? Channeling up and then breaking out. Like I thought this was going to get burned. Again, it took longer than it should. This action now is bearish, and it reminds me of the dot-com bubble. It reminds me of the commodities bubble. Like all bubbles have very similar repeating patterns. And at the highs, I mean, go on to Twitter, go on StockTwits, go into trade, go into the channels, and just there's a faction of people that have gotten fat and happy trading the markets, buying dips every single time. And I'm telling you, that's how the market makers know they'll win their money back, is that at some point that action will destroy them and will take all their money back. And so it's like fattening the cow for slaughter or fattening the pig. I mean, it's, you know, as you know, as much as I hate to quote Jim Cramer, but he's right. Bulls make money, bears make money, pigs get slaughtered. And again, at some point, nobody knows when to go to the sidelines with cash, or no one knows when to short. So they just always do what? Buy the dip. And the buy the dip was great until it doesn't. And then those people get wiped out, or they hold and they start right back at their cost basis. IWM, we've talked about this thing, has been lagging. Absolutely trash. Like, you want the IWM, the junior companies, the companies with the most risk. If the risk is on in the market, IWM should leading. Remember, we talked about it peaking way before the market here in basically the end of October and November. It's leading down again. Just nothing to say. Bearish. Gold. All right, now we're going to go into a topic here. What have I said? In a liquidation break and the market gets weak, everything is sold. It doesn't matter. I love gold. I love silver. I love all this stuff. But I watch Twitter and I look at the folks who are so confident that metals can't go down. And not that they're just saying it today or yesterday. Like, they've been at like that since the retest of the 2011 high, which we talked about in red on the 18th. If you could not break above that, that was uber bearish. Because at everything going on in the world, it should be higher. When it's not, we don't know. I mean, is it JP Morgan and banksters manipulating it? Or is it central banks actually liquidating reserves of gold to buy commodities? Again, other stuff. You don't know that. And so you either trust your stops or you trust that you're going to win. And that's the problem with people. The mentality is that you have to trust your stops, not that you're going to win. Because there are times where I feel like I know I'm going to be 100% correct and I have been wrong. And those are the times that I've gotten my butt kicked if I didn't have stops and believe in those more. So at this point, gold, we talked about it, probably bouncing here at 175. If you don't believe me, go back and check the video. Again, I'm not interested in this stuff. I mean, I love it long term, but I want to see pain. I want to see, again, and it's not that I want to see people in pain. I want to see the participants who are suckers lose their money, because they always do. They literally always do. Like, keep that in mind. Like, if this is a game of poker, if you don't realize you're the sucker, you are the sucker. Or if you can't identify the sucker, you are the sucker in the game. That's the thing. That's why we have these rules. That's why we put out a lot of information to get your mind aware of how the game works. And here's the issue, right? Gold's not holding up. What happens in a liquidation break? Well, when's the last liquidation break that you guys remember? You've been trading. You should remember COVID. It didn't hold up. It didn't hold up. I mean, we talked about this and went, got murdered. This is when you bought it. This, and notice you even had a retest. This is what I'm waiting for. We're not in the liquidation break mode until gold and the markets get slammed. And where could they get slammed? Set your alerts, the 170 level. Like, just know. Okay, gold, 170. And again, we put these targets down. Just watch it. And here's the thing. IBIX, it could go past 170 very quickly. So if you buy it, have a stop, layer in. Do not buy it all at once. But don't set a market or a limit order at 170 for your whole share lot. Start buying some, and if it works, great. And if it doesn't, you're out with the smaller loss. Silver, I feel like a broken record. I love silver, but I do not love how Wall Street silver has planted the seed into people's minds that silver can only go up when it's been one of the most volatile metals of all time, most manipulated metals of all time, and they're acting like it can only go higher. And then we watch this action, and what happens? Now we're breaking the trend line. Like, I've said this multiple times. Like, I would love to see silver get back down into 15, 16, SLV, whatever. Silver, the ounce per ounce would probably be like $16, $17 an ounce. I want to see silver as a teenager again. I will gladly load up. And then guess who's going to be wrong and disappear? All those people who are on Twitter just going, silver, 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 diamond hand, diamond. They get blown out. And why? Because they think they're smarter in the market. And again, is the market rigged? Is it bullshit? No one's going to argue that, guys. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. But guess what? You got to do what the market's going to do and not what you want. Because if you do what you want and you're wrong, you might lose your shirt. And that's the goal. That's the goal, is to prevent that kind of action. GDX, same thing. People are coming on today like, hey, I think miners are a buy. And I'm just like, nah, I don't want them. I just don't want them. And I posted on, again, if you're newer to the channel, I'm posting to my Twitter account. Oh, sorry, give me 2 seconds. Again, I don't use this computer during the day. Let's pull it up. What did we say about, Facebook was a great short. We're going to get in that. Facebook's getting added to the docket. XOP was a great short. See, GDX, be patient. Do not buy it until it tests the range lows, even though wait for the market puke. We said 36 yesterday. I said that multiple times. Multiple times. Like, hey, 36 is going to be an issue. Why? Because it's an important level. Look at the past. You got to know support equals resistance. You got to know the levels. At this point, 33 seems ideal, but I don't know. Let's zoom out on the monthly. Like, why not 29? Why not channel low again? So here you go. If you're following, take a note. Say, all right, looks like GDX channel low would be what? Probably 30. Then you can set your alarm, set your alerts, stop by the Discord room, whatever you want, and do it. GDXJ, same. I mean, we're gonna run through the metals miners very quickly because at this point it's a broken. I'm like a broken record. We look up, back below, check out 36 area, set your alerts. I would love to see this thing get pummeled, and it's. And this is the thing, when you know how to go to cash and take profits, trading becomes so much easier. Like, the mindset that you're going to be right every day in the market, and that 300, well, I guess there's not 360 trading days, 365 trading days a year, but that whatever the number of trading days in a year are, why can't I think that at the moment, but it doesn't matter. Every day's not up, every week's not up, every month's not up. And so the market is meant to be traded. And think about it, if the market maker's unloading his miners that they've been buying down here, loading, unloading, then now they don't have a hold of bid on the market, and they don't give a shit, and they want it to come down. So you have to do what the market's going to do, not what you think. I have to repeat that and beat that in people's brains, because it took me a while, because I used to think I was the smartest guy in the world, and then the market humbled me, and I realized I might be a smart guy, but it doesn't matter what my opinion is. Do what the market's doing or go broke. I mean, it's really that simple. I'm sorry if that seems very harsh, but that is the reality. AG, one of the tells we said this stock should be acting better. What did we say when markets were like at the high? I was like, why is AG lagging? This is one of the most levered names in silver ever. Should be breaking out. Failed at the range highs. Support equals resistance. Look at that. 1435 to 1450 just was not breaking. Now back at the lows. I've said this now multiple times, and hopefully you're watching the videos. You see this downtrend line? Hey, what's up, Cat? Somewhere in the $5, $6, or $7 range. Oh my God! If you can find this company down there, and the silvers are in like silvers in the teenage ounce range, do yourself a favor, stuff this in your IRA, and smoke it later. You're gonna do great. I think so. AEM. Okay, so let's get into AEM. Late earnings today. We posted on the Discord room. They blew out the numbers, but look what happened. Nothing safe in this market. Popped. Put this on your radar again. And the reason why I'm saying put it on your radar again, meaning just great company, tape, bad tape. So where would you want to buy it? 47, 48. I mean, if you can get it down there, but be aware, and I say this every video, seasonality for the second quarter for metals is what? Oh, it's absolutely trash. Typically years, it's all trash. Maybe this year, maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm not going to chase. I'm absolutely not going to chase. Is chasing this action or trying to be early could be very, very costly. Newmont. I don't like this company. I think their growth rate sucks. They're going to have to buy more gold miners. They're probably going to have to dilute the stock. They're probably going to issue more debt. Definitely bull trap the absolute pee out of everybody. And we talked about this, like all these channels up here. I'm like, I don't trust it. It went higher. It went higher than we thought it would go. But then guess what? Their earnings came out and it was like, and it held there, but we'll see what happens. I mean, this channel low at some point is going to break. I can bet with probability. Again, I'm not shorting miners and metals because, again, it's like picking, it's like hurting your own kids. Like, I love metals, so I don't like to actually short them. I'll hedge my positions if needed, and I'll sell them, but I don't short them unless it's very obvious timing of the year. And again, I personally believe, just like most of the people on Twitter and StockTwits, all this stuff, I think this stuff should be higher. So I don't want to short something that I think is undervalued. But guess what? Value is in the eye of the beholder, not in just one person. All right. PAAS. Same thing. Just wait. 21s. I mean, check out the monthly. Oof. If it could get back, let me just draw this stuff so that's constant. If you could get back down to here. Speaking real quietly because I don't want anyone else to know this. PAAS come back to 16 or 17. You buy it. Yeah. And again, I mean, I always tell people, like, if you're patient and you let the prices and the stocks come to you and you identify the most important spots, guess what? You're buying at the deals. You're buying when everyone's puking, and you're probably going to buy a great stock at the best time. Let's get into other material names. X, amazing earnings. I think they said they had the best quarter they've ever had. Look at the action. It gapped up today and closed at the low of the day. We're getting back into our buy range, but I'm starting to suspect that we could even go lower, and lower being the 0.618. I'm taking notes and updating as the price action, because I put my predictions down, but then I also start updating them because I see the market today wasn't even a liquidation break. Today was just panic Friday. Like, who knows what the hell's coming next week. 26 would be ideal, maybe lower. VALE, we said don't buy this. I know it was so hard. I thought it would close at the 100-day, went above it. Again, I didn't short it. I wasn't giving trade idea to short. I just said I'm not buying this because I know at lows it makes a lower low. At highs it makes a higher high. It'll bear trap. You see where I have my price level, prayer level, 15 area, whatever. Just pray that you get there. CCJ, again, I like uranium. I genuinely think uranium is strong long term, obviously, and it's hard not to agree. But guess what? We talked about this hitting what? Talked about hitting the fib, the volume at price area, and look at all the resistance. Look at all these wicks. Look at that monster head and shoulder, and then the right shoulder go boom. Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's not damaging technically long term, but it's due to pull back. So check out the long term trend line. I mean, here's your are you being like that? Here's your like guidepost. Pray it pulls back. Now be aware though, if the VIX gets into the 50s and shit gets going nuts, all these prices that we're putting could get violated by 10% easily because there's panic selling, but it doesn't mean necessarily that they couldn't just turn around and be a long wick. I mean, let's pull up CCJ. I'm interested to see it. Okay, so yeah, even in the Fed on the COVID lows, I mean, it had had a wick of almost 2%. I guess that's not that much. I mean, it was a penny stock then, technically $5. Anyway, that's probably not a good example, but that's what I'm saying. Like when things get destroyed, they get destroyed. Doesn't matter. Mosaic, what did we say? This was too strong of an ascent angle. Pulls back. 50-day. I mean, I kind of drew it for you. I hope you see, like, this is where you got Mosaic. You got the 52 area. People are like, oh, but agriculture is raising prices and all. I know, but don't be surprised when the market breaks, everything gets smoked. And so here comes CF with the same kind of gangster lean. Let's watch it get down into the 70s and 80s. Like that's just the nature. And I tell people, like, even in these bull markets, you had choppy months. This is just way too much, way too fast. You look above channel high, let it pull back. Because if, again, 60, 70 area, there's going to be support. I can guarantee that. It's just a matter, do you go lower or higher? All right, let's get into tech because we're adding someone new to the tech rec train today. And people who are on the Discord room know that we took a short on it at 208 yesterday and 210 today. And so if you're knowing that price action, you'll be excited that we're shorting it. AMD, there's really nothing to say other than I think it's going down to 70s, 80 range. I know it's got earnings, but what have I told you guys? Once AMD peaks, it turns into ugliness. Trend line may be in play in the 50, 60 area. I know they're doing great chips, but I'm going to repeat myself in this rant. Once semiconductors are oversupplied and the technology becomes so good, what happens? They become a commodity. Literally every company is making great chips, great parts for computers, become a commodity. What happens when inflation comes and they can't raise their prices and their margins? They try to, and there's a commodity, and now everything's acting like a commodity. Like literally, semiconductors are replaceable. They start cutting margins. They start cutting prices. I mean, which cuts margins, and it's just like a death spiral for semiconductors. And again, if you're not familiar with the semiconductor death spiral, let me see if I have the SMH on here. I will show you the semiconductor death spiral on the monthly chart, just for fun. I mean, this ETF literally was introduced during the semiconductor bubble. Also, keep in mind, if ETFs are released during a bubble, they're usually the peak, the big one. Look at this, 106 down to 18, 80% haircut. What's an 80% haircut of 320? Oh my God, that would take you back into the 60, 70 range. Whoa, where the 200 month is. I'm not saying that's happening, but I'm not saying it's not. Let's clean this up. Anyway, I usually don't do the SMH, but that's where you got to look at this thing. It does not look bullish, y'all. It just doesn't look bullish. I'm sorry. It looks left shoulder, complex right shoulder. Here's your complex head. Apple did the trade after hours, and people are going to be like, oh, we don't trade after hours. Well, guess what? I've said this a million times in other videos. The second mouse gets the cheese. The first one gets what? The trap, potentially. Well, we did not trade before earnings. I actually bought some calls as hedges. I got in at 169. I just put a market order in after the close. I said, all right, I got this resistance up here. What is also at 169? Oh, it's the 100-day. It's also getting close to the fibs. What did it do? It popped up today to the 50-day. Boom, slam. So, my shares that I added, because remember, we have to be very cautious during earnings. I had half of my position short, and then I bought calls as a hedge. Pops, re-add, load, goodbye. It's really that simple. Check out the monthly. It doesn't look bullish, y'all. Keep in mind, too, like Apple does this where it goes up and then it pulls back to the 50-month. Well, where's the 50-month? Uh-oh, spaghetti-o. Let's, highlight this because I think this might be worth showing people, how repeating patterns, and especially certain stocks have it. There you go. Come back to the 50-month. 50-month will be your friend. Maybe it'll be to 100. I don't know. I know they're doing the big buyback, and they had great data today, but I'm telling you, this market is not rewarding tech. Let's get into our favorite short of all time, Facebook. And the reason why, I haven't been trading it up here. I didn't get in during this mess, but I was waiting. I was obviously waiting waiting. We don't chase. We waited for a pop. I didn't get in on this, but earnings provided a great opportunity. Because again, so one of the things about the market is at the lows. This is why we tell people to take profits. What did the market makers know about the just the basic sentiment on Facebook? Everybody hated it, right? Everybody hates Facebook. Okay, they rally it, short cover it. What do you take it? You just look at the 200. You look at the 50 and the 20-day cross. It was really that simple. Again, I'm not claiming I got in up here, but hey, I'll take up here because again, people are saying, oh, it's a value stock. Well, guess what? Value stocks during value breakdowns they trade at 1 times earnings or book value or whatever low multiple that they can get to. I don't think Facebook deserves to be at a growth model. I mean, they just don't. They don't really return money to shareholders. They don't really have a future business other than the metaverse, which the more I think about the metaverse, I mean, maybe it's 20 or 30 years away from being actually reality that people want to live in, because at this point, there might be bigger problems outside of the metaverse at this point that people need to realize that getting in. And what's the big thing talk about too? 50-month. Look at this. Could never break below it and sustain. Breaking below it and sustaining. Dear God. Again, first support is in the 170s. Talked about that in the Discord room. I would say at this point, though, you can see like there's all these gaps down here. Remember, liquidation break during COVID. I mean, it's only coming back to the 2020 prices. I don't know what to tell y'all. You can keep buying it, or you can just start realizing when tech dies, it dies a ugly death. Just like commodities died an ugly death. Housing had an ugly death. Banking had an ugly death at the bubble highs. You don't think this is a tech bubble? I don't know what to tell you then. Well, tech is here forever. Yes, tech is. And there's still Cisco, and there's still all these other tech names that are from the 2000s, and Microsoft, Apple. They're still here, but they got murdered. And if you don't know what murder means, and I apologize if this gets demonetized, I don't mean actual people being murdered. Let me clarify. I mean the stock murder people's bank accounts or trading accounts. And that's literally what I mean. You can turn into absolute destruction. And I hope people don't get destroyed. That's my goal, is to make you aware. It's going to be a long video, but whatever. It's the weekend. You got time. Breaking, we say break the trend line. You're done. Breaking it, it's gone. Nothing else to say. Roadblocks. I like this company. I think it gets bought out at some point. But guess what? Tech is getting destroyed. I don't know where it's going to go. It's below the IPO price. Be late. Maybe it gets bought out when we're not paying attention. But at this point, I would think it's too early. Too early to decide. Tesla. I've said this many times, and I'm going to say it again every video until people stop asking. If Elon Musk used his stock as his collateral for his loan to buy Tesla, that is bad. That is really bad, because the market makers who now are not the market makers, but the people who facilitated the loan, what is the best hedge on the debt they let Elon Musk take from them, or the cash that he gave them, or that the cash they gave Elon? Their best hedge against his stock ownership is shorting the stock. We keep that in mind. I don't mean to shout, but maybe it wakes people up, because that's what I would do. If someone gave me stock as collateral, I'm shorting it as well, just to hedge some, because again, at these prices, you don't know. And one of the things the market's really good about doing is it sniffs out weakness. And when I say sniffs out weakness, I mean it literally sniffs out, like, hey, Elon is, it's like Kathy Woods. Like, everyone's like knows Kathy Woods is an idiot. It sniffs out her weakness and shorts her. What's happening here? They're going to short out his, they're going to sniff out his weakness and short the stock. And we talked about this being it's done. We talked about it. If the channel low breaks, you're done. You can get mad at me all you want. I mean, all these Tesla people love to just talk junk. And I was like, I was the one, go back into the November videos and listen to the Tesla videos. So I was like, you better be selling. Said, you better be careful. And then what we say up here, short. What we said, trend line, gone. Now what, 200 day? I don't even remember the last time it was below the 200 day. I mean, the 200 day, like, sustained. Wow. I mean, it wasn't, we haven't seen 200 days since 2020. You're breaking the 200 day, folks. I know it could be temporary, but just be aware. It could get ugly quick. Elon Musk could have to sell more shares to cover the margin on his debt.
telling you, backing a loan with stock, you got to be crazy. Now, I know he thinks he's a smart guy. I think he's a smart guy too. Maybe if he somehow sidetracks this death trap that he put himself in, I will be surprised. Or maybe he sells his Twitter shares. I don't know. Who knows? Or maybe who knows what happens. He could always get his cash back. 20-day, again on PENN. I don't know. It's not going anywhere. EXPI, here's an example of holding, even though the fundamentals seem right and you're wrong. I own the stock in my IRAs. I own this stock because I get stock options. Looks like crap. I can't sell it. I won't sell it because I'm getting it at discount prices, but that's ugly. I don't know what to say. If you are following me because I own it, probably shouldn't. Clearly, I am wrong. You will be wrong. Everybody's going to be wrong. Don't be wrong. Like, try not to be wrong. Again, I can't really complain about I'm doing pretty well elsewhere, but it's not still a rational reason to hold it, but I've been irrational before. What do you say? UTHR. Oh, man, where did my volume go? Thank you. Technically, you got to hold the 170s. Really that simple. Let's get on to the end with XOP and ExxonMobil. Today, we put out an alert. Again, we were trading this the last couple of days. We said, watch the highs of the range. It did not touch the 20-day. This is what is so hard about trading is like, let me zoom in. It did not get it, but you had a 2-day range. So you had 137 to short against. I know some folks, man, shit, Hayoti, congrats. You got in it. I know people in the Discord room were like, hey, I'm shorting. I'm like, absolutely, I'm adding drip if you want to. I mean, we talked about this yesterday. I added positions in this because I was anticipating adding to the swing trade. Boom. Look at that. And again, you can see with drip, I mean, it got down to 22s, mid 22s, if I'm correct. Yeah, 22.44, which happened to be the 20-day, which is kind of funny, ironic. It hit the 20-day. Back to XOP, though. What now? 50-day. If the 50-day breaks, it's hard to say exactly because the stock, again, I'm looking at a monthly range. And the reason why I'm shorting, if you're not familiar, IPO price, volume at price, you can see a ton here, 1.382 fib, 100 month. What did the month close as? Oh, look at that. A big doji indecision pattern after a big run up. Worst case scenario, I mean, you can see 102 back to like 90. I mean, 20-30% off the top of this would not be actually that bearish in my opinion. Oil service is strong, ultimately because oil has been strong. But let's throw in oil real quick as a bonus. Man, I don't have it drawn on these charts. I apologize. Let me do it real quick. There's all sorts of little trend lines you can use. What does this look like to you? And again, when I say look like to you, the person listening. Nice smooth channel. And then what happens? Yeah, going way too fast. Oh shit, look at that, back testing that. Nice and smooth, and boom, blowout. And here we go, choppy toppy. Now everyone's like arguing, hey, this is a pennant. This could be bullish. The powers that be do not want oil higher. Let's just call that true. That just is. I mean, if you're a politician, high oil kills your chances of re-election. I apologize. Again, this is a long video, but ExxonMobil, great earnings. Not the best in the world, but look at the action. Gap up, close at the low. Held the 20-day, and I've said this bazillion times. Bazillion. Born in the dark. The top of the volume at price zone was going to be a problem. This is a stock that's been having resistance here for 20 years almost. So do you think people aren't going to remember that when it gets up there? Blowout way early. Lower high. Now a lower high. That's all you got to say. Again, I appreciate everybody and the support. If you've been following this channel and you're making money, again, leave a comment, slap a like, stop by the Discord room. I appreciate everybody. I'm never gonna, again, be the type of person to be pushy about helping me sustain myself, because again, my trading is what makes money. But if you want to see higher quality content, ultimately with better marketing and better stuff, I'll probably pay someone to do it. And so if you want to donate to the channel, that's cool. And if not, it'll just still be you, me, and these charts. And people say, oh, these things are ugly. I don't care. Makes money. On that note, have a great weekend. Be safe. On the weekends, review monthly, weekly charts. Don't be scared. Again, always zoom out. If you are tunnel vision zoomed in all the time, I'm just telling you, you're going to miss the obvious trades. And a lot of people missed the action this week. We didn't. Take care.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.